Do you feel that you are on a hamster wheel of meetings all day long? Jumping from like one meeting to the next, no time for breathing space, no time to think, no time for lunch, maybe no time to actually use the bathroom, and feeling like you go into these meetings and you aren't prepared. Do you sometimes leave meetings thinking, where did we get to? What did we decide? What was the point? And worry about that ever growing task list. If that is you, then check out this episode of The Breathing Room. So my name is Laura Chattington. I partner with companies to embed AI into their work streams and their service delivery so they can save time, add more value, and fully leverage AI to scale what they're doing without sacrificing their sanity. And I'm here with Tara Lee, who has 20 years of experience in health, social care, and working in the third sector. She has a background of commissioning of over £500 million and a proven ability to drive transformational change programs that yield tangible results. And today we're here to help you embed AI into your organizational rhythm using the tools that you already have. So it's not a tech person initiative. It's using the tools that you already have and taking the opportunities that AI can give you and your teams whilst aligning that with your culture and your people for real life challenges and change. And go for it, Tara Lee.
So really sadly, I think that the scenarios that you outlined there, Laura, are ones that we come across day to day in the organisations we work with. This is a real life issue for people. Many organisations do have people that are running back to back all day. They have no time to breathe, no time to think, no time to have lunch, no time to go to the bathroom, and that's just against a basic human right, really. So if they're not in meetings, they're thinking about meetings, they're preparing for meetings, or they're following up from meetings.
Or they're just turning up, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And this is an issue that isn't just about sort of a single level of an organisation. This is an issue that affects everyone from board, CEO, managers, administrators, the entirety of the organisation. Many people just get stuck in this hamster wheel of meetings day to day. So I guess, Laura, why would an AI strategist and a change leader want to talk about something as mundane and unsexy as meetings?
That's a bit of a theme, isn't it, about what we're doing? It's unsexy and mundane. However, there is huge value in what we're talking about, and I think it's really sexy, and I think it's not mundane. But actually, one of the things that comes up in the work that we've done with clients that we've worked with is that actually where you want to start embedding AI into how you work is really about where do you spend most of your time, and what are the things that are inefficient, and where are the biggest pain points. And actually, meetings in many companies is where people spend the most time. And as you say, I've had jobs like that, back to back to back to back to back. And if you looked at anybody's schedule, it's like, where do you do the work, right? And if you've been,
it's out of hours.
Yeah,
that's out of hours. That's when our teams and our organisations are saying they do the work. It's all day meetings and out of hours for working.
And actually, in reality, we are human, and by meeting number 3 or 4, I don't know how people go in with any kind of thinking and decision-making capacity. And it's kind of like compounding inefficiency. And it's not people's fault in any way, but it's like this compounding inefficiency, meetings and meetings and meetings, which are less productive, less efficient, less decisions get made. And actually people are just feeling worse and worse through the day. And then they have to, as you say, spend their evenings and their early mornings doing their work. So although that didn't sound particularly sexy and did sound quite mundane, it is an absolute goldmine of where you can put embed AI into the work streams in your organization with the people. And just to give you an example, I've got a bit of paper actually, which is very untech, but this is like an AI embedded workflow, right, for meetings. And I'm gonna. Can you see it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So meeting happens, right? Normal meeting happens. this is like normally what happens in a meeting is you have the meeting. If you're lucky, someone's taken any quality of notes, probably not. The meeting may or may not have come, made decisions or have an agenda, or, people show up and spend lots of time talking about what happened in the last meeting. All of that stuff goes on, right?
Or doing other work while the meetings are going on.
Not paying attention. And again, it's not people's fault. It's just where we are in the way that we work. So
absolutely.
The solution is on this bit of paper. So the live meeting happens, just to describe it for people watching this. The live meeting happens, then Copilot, or whatever you're using, but I'm guessing it's Copilot, will transcribe that meeting anyway, right? We'll transcribe that meeting anyway. When you start integrating AI into the process, you can then start running reports, running AI, analyzing what's happened in the meeting. It could be things like decisions. Here are the responsibilities. Here is how the progress in this meeting affects this project. Here are the next tasks. It's not just here is the transcript and here are the actions. It's actually processing all of that information and then adding more value and speed to the workflow. So that then the AI then goes on. It then is reviewed by a person, because everything needs to be reviewed by a person for quality, because we don't want a load of junk. It then gets stored wherever that needs to be stored. And then the other good thing is that before the next meeting, or before, you can then run intelligence as well. I call it like a briefing pack. So the briefing pack might be a combination of all the stuff that's gone on before. It might be a profiling of the people in the meeting and the stakeholders in the meeting, if it's external or internal. It could be decisions, it could be actions that you need to take, all of those things. So that briefing pack gets run very quickly. When you go into a meeting, you're like, or you're just coming to a meeting and you're just like, oh my God, what did we, the time and the capacity it takes to work
the preparation
out where you are and what you were doing, done for you, right? With the
AI. That's incredible.
And then again, it depends on your organization, but if that was an ongoing repeating meeting, that could then get circulated, reviewed and circulated by the assistants, the project managers or the owner, and it goes back round, right? So then you've got this workflow where AI is embedded in bits of it. Humans are still required in some of it. And it means that the efficiency means that you go into meetings, exactly, everybody knows what's going on. You don't have to turn up to meetings because you feel like you're going to miss out, because it's already the data and sharing all of that information can be shared across the company. So from an AI perspective, it's very exciting and very sexy. But from that isn't just the whole picture. And you tell us more about what else you need to consider in this flow.
Absolutely. So we know AI on its own isn't enough. And we know, and we've talked about this in episode 1 of our breathing room, it's absolutely critical. We must bring people on the journey. And quite often there are a lot of unseen cultural things that take place in an organization that may impact on how or why people can or can't or choose to or not embed AI in terms of their day-to-day organizational practice. And certainly we know, and again, there is no criticism in this, it is just sometimes where organizations are starting from. We know sometimes that having full diaries is absolutely linked to status or importance for some people in organizations.
100%.
Sometimes where people have had gaps, we know that there's this sort of view that pervades that, well, if they aren't in meetings all day, you haven't got enough work to do. So we've
people
heard
put meetings in, don't they? They put meetings in so that they don't look, it's crazy.
Right. Absolutely. We get ghost meetings put into diaries so that we don't have gaps. That we hear we've always done it this way. Well, actually, I think what we're saying, Laura, is we don't need to do it like this anymore. We can use AI. Let's transform, make a difference, and actually get some time and thinking capacity back for people in the organization. But we also know there's perceptions around use of AI. So sometimes, we have heard narratives around, well, you're not capable, or are you capable if you use AI, or that AI removes personal. And rightly, like you've alluded to, we have to keep the human in the mix. So we have heard previously, well, we're upside down, Laura, we're upside down. we have heard that AI
Human
concerns
checkpoints,
AI will
right.
replace jobs. We've
Yeah,
heard that.
yeah.
But if organizations are supported to do this well, we're seeing in practice, in our work with organizations, 30 to 60% of time back for some individuals in the organizations. We're hearing meetings feel purposeful. They help drive the business. And we're also hearing happier staff, time to think, breathing space. And surely that's where we all want to get to.
I could talk about it for hours, but I know that we don't have the time. But if you're feeling the pressure of work and delivering services and meetings and everything that we've been talking about today, and maybe you touched on, like, it's not about taking people's jobs, but maybe you've got less resource, or you've got to actually do more with the same resource, and you want to know how to use and embed AI into what you do and how you can scale that up for you and your team together without adding more people, without taking over jobs or anything like that, and without working longer hours and getting your time and your headspace back, then comment below, because we would love to talk to you, and we look forward to speaking with you. So next week, we're going to be talking about the very sexy topic of procurement, which
so sexy,
fills
so sexy.
everybody with joy. But actually, how can AI transform your procurement process so that you again, saving organizations gazillions of pounds and dollars, and getting your time back? So something that maybe takes you 3 or 4 days to process, integrating, embedding AI, how do you get that time back and actually really be able to streamline your procurement process, and also money in the bank back, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about next week. So we thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
See you next week.